After his sister blackmailed him, the main character of this anime dedicated himself to complete an autumn game, which he disliked. He felt this way because, in the game, women held all the power, the characters seemed plucked from a poorly written sitcom, and the world building was bizarre. Despite his hate for the game, he miraculously managed to finish it and decided to reward himself with a well-deserved snack. However, on his way to the kitchen, he experienced a dramatic stairway tumble leading to his unexpected reincarnation. Maybe Truck-kun was on a coffee break that day. When he regained consciousness, he was reborn as Leon Fu Barfort, with no recollection of his past life. As he learned about this new world, his memories returned, revealing that he was stuck in the same despised game. 10 years pass, and Leon finally realized that the Barfort family was less a part of the game and more like those potted plants in the corner, barely noticeable. He was just an ugly, disgusting, loner side character. Initially, he thought about using his knowledge of the game to take control. But with time, his ambition faded and he decided to seek happiness in his role as a background character. One day, a woman named Zola, whom Leon's father had married for their family's survival, informed Leon that she had arranged a marriage for him. The person he's supposed to marry is the daughter of a noble in the court, to whom Zola is indebted. The challenge, however, lies in the fact that the woman is a 50-year-old, overweight individual who has been married 7 times before, all of her husbands meeting their fate in battles. This leads Leon to suspect that she's only interested in marrying him for his survivor pension. Leon expresses his intention to attend the academy, where people often find their future spouses. However, Zola dismisses the idea, citing the high cost of education, refusing to invest in him. If he declines the marriage proposal, she plans to send him off to become a soldier since, in this world, women usually marry those under 20 years old. Faced with this grim future, Leon recalls discovering an ancient spaceship in the game. He decides to search for it, knowing it could fetch a substantial sum, allowing him to attend the academy. Utilizing his father's flying ship, he embarks on the search. When he locates the spaceship, a cyclone engulfs and destroys his ship. After waking up on the ground, Leon retraces the routes he once walked in the game. He encounters a robot on lookout, recalling their vulnerability to electricity. Armed with an electric bullet, he defeats the robot and continues his search. Along the way, he discovers lifeless bodies and retrieves a card, using it to access the ship he had been seeking. Upon entering the ship, Leon faces another robot. Despite his attempts with electric bullets, the robot remains undamaged. Initially, Leon tries to deceive the robot with the card he found, but the robot detects the difference and attacks. Leon resorts to an electric grenade, but the robot deploys a magic barrier for defense. Leon throws a regular bomb, which manages to bypass the shield and hit the robot. However, the robot is still unharmed. It grabs Leon and inquires about the current year according to the new calendar, realizing that new humans have defeated the old ones with magic. Named Sumavi, the robot's mission is to defeat the new humans, starting with Leon. It squeezes Leon's body, causing him to bleed. In a desperate move, Leon throws a sword at the robot's eyes, defeating it. He then scans his hand on the ship, which recognizes him as its new master. The ship, now named Luxian, surprises Leon by acknowledging his attributes from both new and old humans. Despite being severely injured, Leon manages to aim Luxian, but he eventually passes out from his wounds. 3 months later, back at home, Zola criticizes Leon for refusing the marriage proposal and running away, fearing he might be dead. To her astonishment, Leon returns with his ship and a lot of treasure, surprising everyone and infuriating Zola. With this money, Leon enrolls in the academy. He resides on an island he discovered, becoming an independent knight with the rank of baronet. Accompanying him is a small flying robot from the ship, suggesting that the island could bring future wealth and proposing the idea of building hot springs. Leon embraces the idea of building hot springs, and the robot reveals that the process has already begun. The hot springs will be ready in a few months. However, when Leon is granted the rank of Baron, he feels unhappy as it means he now has to find a wife of high rank, likely around the same rank as Zola. At the academy, he encounters the prince and his group, who were the main romantic interests in the game. He also sees Angelica, the protagonist's rival. During the opening ceremony, Leon witnesses a girl slapping the prince. This scene is familiar to him from the game, but he is surprised to find that the girl isn't the protagonist, as it was originally portrayed in the game. Leon decides to host a tea party with his friends Daniel and Raymond, hoping to attract some girls. At the party, he observes the prince defending a girl named Marie against his fiancée Angelica. This situation confuses Leon because, in the game, the prince was supposed to protect the protagonist during this scene. While attending a tea party etiquette class, Leon is called to the front by the teacher. He becomes impressed with the teacher's skills and decides to organize his own tea party. Unlike before, he takes charge of all the arrangements. Although he invites a girl who arrives with some friends, they only stay for snacks and leave. Leon notices a girl being bullied and offers her tea. After spending time with her, he discovers she's Olivia, the main protagonist of the game. Finding her kind, he decides to help her by introducing her to his sister, who advises Olivia to approach the most popular girl in class, Angelica. Since Olivia is poor, Leon offers to pay for the expensive snacks she needs to buy for Angelica. Olivia bravely introduces herself to Angelica, who is impressed with her courage. When Olivia mentions that Leon encouraged her to do so, Angelica is intrigued. However, she expresses concern that people might exploit Leon for their own gain. During an exploration class, Angelica and Marie clash, prompting the prince to side with Marie instead of his fiancée. The teacher instructs the students to search for crystals while avoiding monsters. However, due to their financial status, Leon and Olivia are urged to lead the way. In the dungeon, Leon effortlessly defeats monsters until one attacks Olivia. He shields her, getting injured in the process. The prince and his group arrive, defeating the monsters. Marie uses healing magic to tend to the prince's wounds. Angelica intervenes, but the prince rejects her help, choosing Marie instead. This action makes the prince's friends, who are also romantic interests in the game, jealous. Prince Julius questions Angelica about a previous incident where Marie was bullied and his belongings were destroyed, alleging Angelica's involvement. She denies any wrongdoing. The prince warns Angelica to keep her distance from him and Marie at the academy, clarifying that their engagement is only outside of the school. Curious about Marie, Leon goes to the library to inquire of Olivia, but she misinterprets his intention and asks if he likes girls like Marie. They are interrupted by noise and find Marie kissing one of the boys from the prince's group. After leaving the library, Marie meets with the prince and his friend Joke, who offer to buy a servant for her due to her financial constraints. Marie reflects on how easy life is in this world and expresses her determination to dominate the Otone game, revealing that she is not from this world either. Leia and his friends attend a party with the goal of finding wives for themselves, but their advances are rejected. Meanwhile, Angelica gets into another argument with the prince, informing him that she saw Marie holding hands with another boy. However, he appears indifferent to her concerns. Angelica confides in the prince's group of friends, accusing Marie of being involved with all of them. To her surprise, they admit they are aware and openly express their love for Marie. When the prince declares his love for Marie, Angelica challenges her to a duel, throwing her glove. The prince offers to be her champion, but his friends, vying for the spotlight, also volunteer to fight for Marie. In contrast, nobody is willing to fight for Angelica. Leon steps up, recalling that in this scene, if the protagonist wins, Angelica ends up marrying a low-ranked noble and leads a miserable life. Since he despises all the main romantic interests in the game, they agree that if Leon wins, the prince and Marie will break up. Leon proposes an armored duel in the arena, rejecting their offer to gather 5 people to compete against him, insisting that he alone is sufficient. Later, Leon discovers his room vandalized, with Luxian capturing footage revealing that even his friends Daniel and Raymond were involved in the vandalism. Angelica summons Leon, urging him to drop out of the duel to avoid risking his life. Leon reassures her, emphasizing that he is fighting not to ask for a favor from her father, the Duke, but because he despises the individuals in the arena. All 5 of Leon's opponents proudly present their large armored robots. However, when Leon's robot arrives, everyone bursts into laughter due to its peculiar shape. Confused, Olivia asks Angelica why they are mocking Leon's armor. Angelica explains that Leon's armor is likely a lost item, no longer made with modern technology. While rare, this doesn't guarantee its strength. Unlike the sleek and fast new armors, including those of his opponents, Leon's armor is bulky. Liam jumps into his robot and requests blade number 1 from the backpack. Instead, Luxian gives him a shovel because the last time Liam used the robot, he was digging and forgot to replace the blade. Despite this, Leon remains confident and believes he can defeat his opponent using the shovel. In the first match, Leon faces Brad, who attacks using drones on his robot's back. Leon easily dodges them and defeats Brad with a single strike, stunning everyone. For the second opponent, Greg steps up and claims that Leon won because of his strong armor. He attacks, but Leon deflects all of his strikes and breaks Greg's weapon. Leon then starts dismantling Greg's robot, but Greg insists on continuing the fight without his armor. Leon refuses, stating he doesn't want to bully someone weak. He emphasizes that tormenting a nobody would leave a bad taste in his mouth. Next, Leon faces Chris. At the match's start, Leon deploys the drones on his robot's back, shooting Chris' robot. Despite Chris's jump attack with his sword, Leon grabs and breaks it, defeating Chris. Chris is disheartened by his loss and questions it, claiming he worked hard but still lost. Leon sarcastically suggests telling Marie about his hard work, hoping for her pity. The following opponent is Joke, who before the match uses Jenna, Leon's sister, to plant explosives in Leon's robot. Luxian informs Leon about the situation, but Leon remains unfazed, knowing the robustness of his robot's armor. As the match commences, Joke takes to the air and attacks Leon. Realizing that his powerful attacks, which could easily damage his standard robot armor, have no effect on Leon, Joke detonates the explosives. To its astonishment, Leon emerges unscathed. In desperation, Joke threatens Leon's family and declares that his noble days are over. However, Leon counters by revealing that he has recorded Joke's threats and his act of planting explosives on his robot. If he were to report this to the prince and Marie, they would surely despise him. Leon wields his shovel and defeats Joke, further unsettling Marie, who can't believe a background character is jeopardizing her plan. The prince reassures Marie, asserting that he will defeat Leon because his armor is crafted from the kingdom's finest technology. However, Marie reflects on how others made similar claims before being defeated. She recalls their inherent weakness, which is why she had her brother complete the game for her. Before the final match begins, Leon asks the prince for his thoughts on Olivia. The prince admits he has never spoken with her, and therefore has no opinion. Leon and the prince engage in their showdown. As Leon commends Julius for being a more challenging opponent than the others, he informs Julius that Marie has deceived him, insisting that she doesn't truly love him. However, Julius refuses to hear anything against the love of his life, describing Marie as different from other women in the royal palace. He believes that she genuinely sees and loves him for who he is. Leon mentions Angelica's love for Julius, but the prince counters that if she truly loves him, she would want his happiness and would stay away from him. Julius questions Leon about his penchant for looking down on and lecturing others. Leon provocatively responds that it feels great, and even though he may be arrogant, he remains unbeatable. He advises Julius to consider the consequences of going against Angelica and the Redgrave family, as it could jeopardize his noble status and claim to the throne. Julius firmly declares that he doesn't care about titles or status as long as he can be with Marie. Leon realizes he can't change Julius's mind, so he launches a powerful attack that shatters Julius' robot armor completely. The crowd is shocked and boos Leon. Olivia questions Leon's cruelty towards the prince and his friends, pointing out that now everyone hates him. Leon calmly responds that he doesn't plan to stay at the academy for long, so the opinions of others don't matter to him. Angelica checks on the prince, who confesses his everlasting love for Marie, leaving Angelica heartbroken. She decides to leave him, expressing her intention to pray for his happiness. Leon approaches the head of the Redgrave family, who is Angelica's father, and expresses his willingness to give up his knighthood and reject the barony he was offered. He requests the family's help in resolving the mess he caused and asks to spare his family from repercussions. Angelica's father, appreciating Leon's bravery in defending his daughter, agrees to assist him. Another man present questions Leon's motives, suggesting he could have avoided the situation if he hadn't fought the prince. Leon reflects on his irritation towards the prince and his friends, but states that he did it for the good of the kingdom, unable to bear seeing the prince deceived by Marie. Angelica's father asks Leon to take his daughter to rest in the countryside as she is emotionally defeated. Leon brings Angelica and Olivia to his home, showcasing the hot springs he had built. After enjoying the springs, they engage in a heartfelt conversation. Angelica expresses self-loathing for still contemplating revenge against Marie. Leon offers a unique perspective, suggesting that the best revenge she could take is by finding happiness. Meanwhile, the prince and his friends are disinherited by their families, losing their noble status. While some are unaffected, Marie struggles to accept the shattered dream of living in the royal palace. At Leon's home, a messenger arrives announcing that Leon won't be held accountable for his actions. Instead, his royal ranking has increased to the upper 6th rank, disrupting his plan to rid himself of his ranks and avoid returning to the academy. He is now obligated to attend the academy due to the royal family's recognition. Luxian informs Leon that Marie, Julius, and their friends have chosen to stick together. They are no longer romantically involved, but are focused on training in dungeons to become stronger and defeat Leon. They fund their efforts themselves after losing their family's support. While everyone else seems content, Marie remains unhappy. Leon is frustrated about returning to the academy but finds solace in being around Olivia and Angelica, even though he understands that the game's setting prevents any romantic involvement. During the school festival, Leon, along with his friends Daniel and Raymond, decides to open a cafe. Angelica and Olivia join as maids. Seeing them in maid outfits brings Leon to tears as he laments the impossibility of romantic involvement due to the game's constraints. Leon's sister approaches him for help after a fight over a boy. Despite her wrongdoings, she asks Leon to threaten the other girl to leave the boy alone. Olivia objects, claiming it's wrong. When Leon's sister rudely dismisses Olivia, both Angelica and Leon stand up for her, urging her to leave the prince and his friends. Alongside Marie, they open a cafe next to Leon's, which becomes popular despite charging a high price of 100 dia for tea and snacks. During their visit, Marie insults them, declaring their cafe useless, intending to use it as a break room. Olivia attempts to advertise their cafe, but she faces scorn and insults, except from a girl named Carla, who finds their cafe appealing. On the day of the festival, just as they are about to open the cafe, a teacher arrives to summon Angelica to the executive committee. There she meets Lady Mylene, the queen of the kingdom, who requests Angelica to escort her to meet Leon. As Angelica and Lady Mylene enter Leon's cafe, they witness a girl and her servants harassing Leon. The girl tosses a teacup at Leon, complaining that the tea is lukewarm. When Leon bows to clean up the mess, she callously steps on his head and demands that he pay her for the tea. Angelica intervenes to defend Leon, but this girl, unlike the others, stands her ground and reveals herself as the daughter of Count Offering, a rival from Angelica's own family. She proceeds to insult Angelica, prompting Olivia to step in and ask her to stop. The girl dismisses Olivia as Angelica's pet and belittles her. She instructs her servants to strike Leon, leaving Lady Mylene to order them to leave. However, the girl remains unaware of Lady Mylene's identity and instructs her servants to remove her as well. Leon, finding amusement in causing a counterattack, announces that they are challenging the queen of the kingdom, and he will protect her. He proceeds to fend off the servants. Angelica realizes Leon has gone too far and calls his tea party teacher, whom he considers his master, to calm him down. Following the incident, Lady Mylene expresses her displeasure with Leon, who drops to his knees and pleads for leniency for his family. However, Lady Mylene clarifies that she didn't refer to that and asks Angelica for assistance. Angelica believes that Leon is simply mocking Lady Mylene. Lady Mylene discusses her frustration with Leon's conduct in the duel against Julius and the enemies he has made in the royal palace. Leon remains indifferent. She then requests Leon's help in creating some memories at the academy, as she never had the opportunity to attend it herself. Liam is captivated by the queen's beauty and suggests marriage to her, much to Julius's dismay, who retaliates by attending Julius's cafe. The queen then asks Julius to bring Marie before her, but Julius refuses due to Marie's attitude, which infuriates the queen. She points out Julius's hypocrisy, accusing Leon of greed while charging exorbitant prices for low-quality tea and snacks and labeling Leon a coward while remaining with Marie even after losing the duel. Carla visits Leon's cafe and, after Olivia introduces her, requests Leon's help to save her family. Later, Luxian asks Leon if he intends to assist Carla, to which Leon decides to help, citing the importance of maintaining Olivia's reputation since she introduced Carla. After the school festival, the academy hosts a flying bike race. Angelica is part of the executive committee overseeing the event and informs Olivia that third-year students Dan and Joke are the favorites to win. They ponder if Leon will participate but suspect he's more likely to bet on the races than join them. As the races commence, Leon uses Luxian to place bets on winning bikes and accumulates winnings. However, in the race featuring Joke, other participants repeatedly target him. Liam is concerned because he bet on Joke to win, and despite Joke's victory, he sustains an injury and cannot participate in the next race. Joke's former fiancée, Clarice, reveals her responsibility for the attacks, driven by her desire to make him pay for choosing Marie over her. Marie suggests that Leon should participate in the race to avoid damaging Angelica's reputation, as she struggles to find a replacement for Joke among the first-year students due to her role on the executive committee. Liam decides to join the race and has a conversation with Dan, who discloses that Clarice once deeply cared for Joke. However, Joke ended their relationship abruptly with just a letter and refused to meet her afterward. Lakshan questions Leon's determination to win after hearing Dan's account. Leon, despite his dislike for Joke's actions, insists that he will win to witness the reactions of those who want to see him fail. As the race begins, participants, even those who aren't followers of Clarice, target Leon due to their debts caused by him. The audience, including the commentators, hopes for his defeat. Meanwhile, Count Offer's daughter approaches Angelica once more, engaging in disparaging conversation. During the race, Leon manages to secure victory thanks to Luxian's modifications to his bike. However, his bike breaks down afterward, and as Leon starts to fall, fearing for his life, Dan comes to his rescue on his own bike. Leon approaches Joke to make him repay his debt for replacing him in the race. When Joke asks what he should do, Leon insists that he must apologize directly to Clarice for all he has put her through. After Joke departs, Clarice shares details with Leon about the altercation Angelica had and how Olivia ran away. Leon seeks out Olivia, who asks if she can become friends with Angelica. Leon expresses his doubts due to their differences and suggests that Angelica may have been with them only because she lost her followers. However, Olivia believes in Angelica's genuine character, and Leon tells her that if she has that faith, then it shouldn't be a problem. Olivia waits in a room, hopeful that opening up to Angelica can bridge the gap between them and lead to friendship. Carla enters, explaining that her initial request was just to meet Leon, but now she believes Olivia's involvement could be helpful. However, Olivia feels Leon shouldn't be dragged into her issues anymore. Count Offer's daughter enters the room, pledging to comply with Olivia's wishes or face consequences. She warns Carla to shape up, threatening her family. Olivia rejects her request for assistance. The following day, Leon informs Luxian about the sky pirates causing havoc in Carla's land, compelling him to intervene. Leon discloses that one of the 3 items needed by the game's protagonist, Olivia, to awaken her saintly powers is held by the sky pirates, a holy necklace. Leon outlines that the Sky Pirate event occurs 2 or 3 years into the game's story, and the subsequent events depend on the protagonist's actions. Olivia seeks help from her love interest, while Stephanie, Count Offer's daughter, is revealed as the mastermind behind the Sky Pirates. Stephanie despises Olivia's rising reputation, particularly now that it's linked to her association with Leon. Luxian suggests allowing Olivia to handle the situation, but Leon believes she isn't ready to deal with it effectively. He decides to confront the Sky Pirates himself. Carla joins Olivia, and they request aid from others. Brad and Greg volunteer, Brad, being Stephanie's ex-fiancé, is motivated partly by the money he'll earn, which will assist Marie. Meanwhile, at the academy, Angelica decides to mend her relationship with Olivia. However, upon reaching Olivia's room, she discovers it has been vandalized, raising her concern for Olivia's safety. Stephanie arrives and casually admits to sending Olivia to confront the Sky Pirates. Enraged, Angelica grabs Stephanie, warning her of dire consequences if anything happens to Olivia. On the ship named Partner, created by Luxian, Leon, Greg, and Brad, are engaged in a card game when Luxian alerts them about two pirate ships approaching. Leon readies himself for battle, instructing Greg and Brad to wait while he pilots his robot armor Arrogance. With ease, Leon defeats the pirates, choosing not to kill them but disable their ships. Upon reaching Carla's island, they find themselves surrounded by a group led by Comrade Fue and Carla's father. Carla's father recognizes Brad and inquires about their presence. Leon explains Carla's recruitment and their mission to fight the supposed pirates attacking their land. Conrad, Carla's father, denies any attacks on their land, leading to confusion. Carla lies, blaming everything on Olivia. Leon steps in to defend Olivia, revealing Carla's involvement and her manipulation by Stephanie. Carla's father confronts her, demanding the truth. After learning the truth, Leon attempts to talk to Olivia, but she has been brainwashed by Stephanie. When Olivia accuses Leon of objectifying her and asserting her humanity, Leon, standing atop the ship, contemplates her words. Luxian points out how he has hindered Olivia's personal growth and treated her as a doormat. Enraged by this realization, Leon punches Luxian. Brad joins him on the rooftop, expressing his determination to defeat Leon the next time they duel. In the midst of their confrontation, Leon surprises Brad by refusing to engage in another duel, declaring that he won't fight him again. However, Luxian intervenes, providing them with wooden swords to spar. Despite Brad's determination, Leon easily defeats him. Brad admits his inferiority, motivating him to work harder so he won't be overshadowed by the others. The following morning, as they discuss plans to deal with the Sky Pirates, they are suddenly attacked. Leon instructs Brad and Greg to remain on the ship, but recognizing their determination, equips them with captured robots from the pirates. Meanwhile, Olivia, feeling remorseful for her previous actions, witnesses Leon fighting against the pirates' robots. When Olivia rushes out to help Leon after he's blown away by one of the pirates, she's stopped by the boss's robot. However, Brad arrives just in time to rescue her. Upon seeing Brad and Greg risking their lives to save Olivia, Leon realizes that this is how things should have been all along. Realizing Brad and Greg are struggling against the boss, Leon intervenes and destroys the enemy robot. Olivia is threatened by the pirate boss, but Leon, with newfound determination, torments him before ultimately defeating him. The pirate ships surrender, and Leon seizes the loot the pirates had amassed, including the Holy Necklace. Having significantly altered the game's course, Leia contemplates returning to the role of a background character, acknowledging his extensive interference with the game's original plot. Leon reports to the royal palace that he assisted Greg and Brad, leading to them receiving the bounty money from the pirates. He also helps their family get reinstated and decides to distance himself from Olivia and Angelica. Brad and Greg, appreciating Leon's assistance, promote him from upper 6 to lower 5. However, this promotion brings more challenges as Leon receives a letter from Clara's family, indicating he'll be promoted to upper 5th after graduation and gifted an air bike. Daniel and Raymond inform Leon that his newfound status is attracting attention from girls, but he discerns that they're interested in his rank. With the school trip approaching, Leon chooses the southern floating island, where he hopes to find a particular item. Olivia and Angelica also visit the same island. Upon arrival, Olivia imagines how wonderful it would have been if Leon were there. Spotting shrined, she and Leon both pray there, joined by Angelica later. A young shrine worker informs them about the shrine's dedication to marriage. They each make silent wishes after offering, but Leon breaks the silence by praying for a wife who is sensible, attractive, and a bit mischievous. Angelica scolds him for his language, reminding him it's a holy place. They continue their wishes in silence. Later, the young girl kindly presents them with 3 charms, which happen to be the very items Leon had hoped to find on this journey. Leon had used his influence to arrange their visit to the southern islands for this purpose. These charms were randomly bestowed upon them and included a good luck charm, a war fortune charm, and a blessing of the element talisman. When the girl insisted they take one each, Leon, Olivia, and Angelica initially offered Leon the chance to keep them all. However, Leon decided to share the charms among them. After opening the charms, Olivia and Angelica received the red and white blessing of the element talismans, while Leon obtained the war fortune charm, which heightened one's physical abilities and close combat skills. The following morning, Chris challenged Leon to a sword duel, but their conversation was abruptly interrupted when the ship they were on came under attack by creatures bearing the crest of the Thanos Dukedom. The Thanos Dukedom, once a part of the kingdom, had declared independence and established itself as a separate nation. Leon found it surprising to encounter them so early in the story, given that they didn't appear in the game until the end. Puzzled about what he might have done to trigger their early appearance, Leon sought an explanation from Angelica. Angelica had informed Leon that the leader of the Thanos Dukitum forces was Princess Gertrude, whom she had encountered previously. Gertrude addressed everyone on the ship, declaring war on the Halford Kingdom and urging any nobles with a rank of Baron or higher to surrender if they wish to survive. A man named Gallic, representing the Thanos Dukedom, announced their intention to imprison all nobles meeting that criteria. Despite Leon and Olivia's attempts to dissuade her, Angelica stepped forward and offered herself as a hostage, citing her status as the Duke's daughter as sufficient reason. Unfortunately, their fellow students chose to prioritize their own safety and held Leon and Olivia back, preventing them from stopping Angelica's self-sacrifice. Amidst the chaos, Olivia endures a harsh slap from some girls, while Leon faces a brutal beating at the hands of fellow students aboard Princess Gertrude's monster ship. Angelica confronts Gertrude, questioning the rationale behind their actions, especially given the Halford Kingdom's overwhelming strength. Gallet, seeking guidance from Gertrude, is told they have no use for the other nobles. Meanwhile, Leon is thrown into his cell on the ship by the students. In a surprising turn, Chris approaches Leon, pleading for his help. Leon, however, staunchly refuses, asserting that he won't fight for those unwilling to fight for themselves. Despite Chris' attempts to rally everyone, his words fall on deaf ears. Leon, armed with a gun, berates them, declaring them unworthy of their noble status. He singles out Angelica as the daughter of Count Roseblade, the most influential figure on the ship after the Duke. Unperturbed, Leon criticizes their current behavior, challenging the very essence of their noble lineage. He questions whether the adventurous spirit of their ancestors courses through their veins, igniting a spark of determination within them. Deirdre, who had previously insulted Leon, now admires his audacity, finding his fearless attitude exhilarating. As they prepare to fight, Leon rallies them with his fiery words. He resolves to board the monster ship and save Angelica. Meanwhile, Gertrude on the ship begins playing a magical flute, revealing a skill reminiscent of the game. Leon, aware of this detail from the game, decides to steal a flute during his mission to rescue Angelica. Back on the ship, Chris and other students dive into the available armored robots, engaging in combat against the monsters assaulting their vessel. Simultaneously, the remaining students employ their magical abilities to shield their ship from the ongoing onslaught. Amidst the chaos, the enemy's ship unleashes a barrage of cannons, causing significant damage to their vessel. In a moment of desperation, Olivia conjures a massive barrier, shielding the entire ship from the onslaught. The barrier also retaliates, striking back at the attacking monsters. Witnessing Olivia's incredible feat, Leon's worries momentarily dissipate, and he resolves to board the enemy ship. Leon takes swift action, first incapacitating Gillette and then seizing Princess Gertrude, along with her magical flute, while Luxian playfully removes Gallop's mustache. Leon announces their plan to hold the princess hostage and reclaim their ship. However, the enemy remains indifferent to the princess's fate. Gertrude reveals that she can be easily replaced, asserting that their attacks will persist. She releases her control of the monsters, directing them to target the one manipulating her herself. With Gertrude on their ship, the monsters' onslaught endangers everyone. Leon attempts to buy time, diverting the monsters' attention, while Angelica tends to Olivia. Exhausted from casting the barrier, Olivia laments her fear of being a burden to Angelica and Leon. Angelica reassures her, insisting that she never viewed her as a hindrance. In the midst of their conversation, a monster's attack rocks the ship, causing it to lose balance. Angelica finds herself perilously close to falling overboard, but she manages to cling to the edge. As her grip weakens, Olivia valiantly saves her, sacrificing herself in the process and getting thrown out of the ship. In the midst of chaos, Leon manages to save Olivia from falling, and she confesses her love for him, expressing her desire to be with him. He brings her back onto the ship just as his partner, piloting their ship, arrives and begins attacking the enemy forces. Encouraged by his partner's arrival, Leon dons his robotic armor, arrogance, and engages in battle to defeat the remaining enemies. Amidst the battle, one of the enemies suggests a retreat, but Gillette, their leader, refuses, determined not to abandon their mission to retrieve the princess and the magical flute. Gillette remembers their most formidable warrior, Sir Vandal, the Black Knight, who is still in their ranks. Leon confronts the Black Knight, whose armor is inferior but possesses superior piloting skills. They clash fiercely, and despite a valiant effort, the Black Knight manages to pierce through Leon's armor, putting immense strain on him. Luxian advises Leon to exit the damaged robot, but Leon disregards the advice, continuing the fight. In a daring move, the Black Knight thrusts his sword through the robot, prompting Leon to exit, seemingly surrendering. However, the robot, now under Luxian's control, seizes the Black Knight's machine. Leon swiftly re-enters the pilot's seat, pointing a gun at the Black Knight's face, securing his victory. Witnessing their defeat, Gillette decides to set off a flare, attracting all the monsters in the area, hoping they will obliterate everything. Thinking quickly, Leon instructs Luxian to use the main ship, which unleashes a torrent of fire from the sky, annihilating all the monsters and saving the day. Leon decides to show mercy to the Black Knight, suggesting that he should retire and share the story of his defeat to highlight Leon's strength. Upon returning home, Leon takes all the credit for their victory and shifts the spotlight to Chris, hoping it will lead to Chris's reinstatement in his family. He then hosts a tea party with Olivia and Angelica. Meanwhile, the prince and his group construct another robot armor and challenge Leon to a duel with the condition that Leon won't interfere with Marie and the others. Greg takes control of the robot, and Leon secretly plans to lose on purpose, believing Olivia deserves better. However, during the fight, Luxian warns Leon that Greg's robot is about to explode. Greg disregards the warning, leading Leon to destroy the robot to save Greg, ultimately resulting in his victory. Leon participates in a ceremony where he is officially bestowed the title of Viscount. Following the event, he has a meeting with Olivia, who earnestly expresses her love for him. Olivia eagerly anticipates his response, hoping that one day he will provide an answer to her heartfelt confession. Both Olivia and Angelica patiently await Leon's decision. Despite the challenges posed by their circumstances within the game world, Leon remains determined to be with both of them, regardless of the difficulties they may face.